Hello, and welcome to the Franchise Connection, where we always leave an IOU when borrowing a book. I'm Matt Fisher.
I'm Matt Spark.
And today we're discussing the NeverEnding Story. And we're also ripping up our intro scripts. After 20-some episodes of doing this, I think we have mostly a handle of what we're talking about. So, after me recapping all these movies for the last number of episodes, I'm going to have you explain to the audience what this movie is about.
So, NeverEnding Story is a fantasy movie about a kid whose mother has passed away, and he's bullied, he has no friends, and he ends up going on a journey through after running away from his bullies. He runs into a bookstore and he finds a book that sends him on a journey to save the universe.
A universe.
Well, a universe. Yeah. It has bigger implications, but yeah, that's a gist of.
Okay, so I'm familiar with the movie through pop culture and osmosis. I watch
Artax. Did that get spoiled for you?
No, I didn't know anything about that. I remember like moments in my head when I was little watching the movie, and I guess the puppetry kind of like weirded me out, so I never really like tried to watch it after that. But this one was on my radar just because I knew it was a trilogy, and I thought, every time I bring it up to people, they always, they always like, oh, I love that movie growing up, they start to sing the NeverEnding Story, which is a very catchy song. But I enjoyed it. I could see why if this was if I watched this when I was younger, it might have introduced me to more fantasy, because it's a really good gateway.
Yeah, I would say this, The Hobbit, and Chronicles of Narnia are like gateway fantasy for children.
I mean, movie-wise, like we said, movies too.
I'd say the Chronicles of Narnia movies would count.
I say that because this movie does a very good job of being very simplistic in its imagination. And what I mean by that is, you got this realm, you got that realm, you meet this creature and that creature. There's not a lot of need to expand on the lore or how certain creatures became who they are or where they came from. They're just presented to you, and you just follow along with their journey. But yeah,
Rockbiter. You don't need an explanation for who he is. He bites rocks.
It's in the name. But yeah, it's a nice movie, and it, like any 80s family movie, it has moments that gets pretty dark, and I gotta say, for this movie, it goes really high concept toward the end. I didn't expect it to be whoa, that's out of the box for a movie like this. I expected. And additionally, I was really surprised. Wolfgang Petersen directed this, and are you familiar with his?
Not 100%.
But you have seen some of his movies.
I'm sure I have.
He directed Air Force One. He directed In the Line of Fire, Bicentennial Man, Das Boot, Enemy Mine, which is a movie I like. So I was really not expected to see him do
high concept fantasy.
Well, fantasy in general, like a family adventure, because most of his movies are very more adult or mature. So it was interesting to see, I guess, in the beginning of his career, just trying something different. And something that interesting too, they said it was a German-American production.
Yeah.
And so I think that's maybe why this movie kind of breaks the mold of not trying to be played safe all the time and being a little darker, because I guess capturing a fairy tale aspect of it.
Yeah, I could definitely see that.
Me having said that, you have seen this movie, though.
I have. So it's been almost 20 years.
How much of it do you remember?
I remember Artax. I remember that scene. I remember being traumatized when I first saw it.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, it's traumatizing seeing that happening to the horse.
I mean, it's his only friend, really, too.
Yeah. I remember the Sphinxes, the Trial of the Sphinx.
That was a cool scene. I like that. Yeah.
And yeah, I remember bits and pieces here and there. I remember the scope of it.
Mm-hmm. Do you remember the ending at all, or not really?
A little bit.
Okay. I think it's one that you kind of watch one, 2 or 3 times, and you're like, oh, okay, I kind of get it now. The first time it's like you're trying to put together, but it's explained pretty well. But like compared to a lot of like you've read a lot of fantasy since you've seen this movie for the first time. So like, how's it compared to like other fantasy that you've read?
Similar, but also different.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's similar in that it's a fantastical world. There's creatures that aren't fully explained, that you just go with, like the luck dragon. You just go with it.
Yeah, he's so friendly. How can you not?
And then there's but it's different in that, like, some of the concepts are, like, I would say probably the closest thing fantasy book-wise to this is Inkheart.
I was thinking of that on the ride home after we watched the movie. I was thinking of Inkheart. It's mostly because it's a movie I feel like that sticks in my head because I feel like most people don't remember that. But it has that same concept of palette literature and the creatures and the characters that populate it.
I mean, the books... I've only read the first book of that series because... I mean, I have the other ones, but I've never got around to reading them. I really like that first book.
Yeah. I'm sure maybe we could watch that movie down the line. But I also like that this movie, it does fit that mold of, I've had other people kind of tell me this too, like Dark Crystal and Labyrinth, and even Princess Bride in a little way, because this movie has the main character, Bastian, reading the book and then seeing the story play out the same way.
That was the first thing I thought when the kid woke up was, oh, this feels very Princess Bride almost.
Yeah, and like how the story changes both of those characters in different ways. But yeah, it's a fun movie. It's also a quick watch, I gotta say. Like
it's an hour and a half.
But it gets to the beat by beat very quickly. So speaking of beat by beat, I guess is a good way to jump into talking about the movie. Yeah. Okay. And something I'm going to try to get in a habit too is just saying the film was directed by Wolfgang Petersen, like I said, which was a nice surprise, and the screenplay was by Petersen and Herman Weigel, based on the novel by Michael Ende. I've
never read the book.
I didn't even realize it was based on a book. I didn't. I thought it was always just a film concept.
Yeah, and I've never read the book, so
maybe now you will.
Maybe eventually
for the sequel.
I know from what I understand, the first movie is an adaptation of the first half of the book.
That's what I saw too. Yeah, when I was looking up.
Second movie is a loose adaptation of the second half of the book.
And the
third one is an original story that has nothing to do with anything.
If it's anything like Fletch Lives, we might not like it as much. But anyway, let's get to the film. So one thing I did like that I'm going to be interested when we watch more movies from the 80s, how many of them will have a theme song. So this movie opens up with that theme song where it's like, da da da, never-ending story. It's a really nice way.
It's a catchy...
And I like how they make like a score, an orchestral version of it throughout the movie. Like I like it's kind of thing like James Bond does, where they take the theme song and then they make that the score underneath it. It's like I was kind of almost like the heart and soul of the film. You keep hearing it almost like a heartbeat going back and forth. But over all these weird landscapes that we're gonna see and understand. But yeah, I just like getting those theme songs. They're fun. I think I kind of wish movies could go back to that a little bit.
I mean, why not? There's no reason they can't.
So I mean, you guys got Superman flying through the sky. Yeah, make that in Superman Man of Tomorrow, please. Okay. So, yeah, it's a really catchy song, and it's a fun way to kind of get you in the mood for the movie. And then we cut right to almost like a jump cut in a way. We meet the main character, Bastian, who wakes up out of almost like a bad dream. Yeah. And right off the bat, we know that he likes books. Because we see that he fell asleep reading a book. He put a bookmark into the book. And then we kind of get an idea why he
is the way he is.
Yeah.
Like, his dad is, like, telling him, you really... I know everything's hard, especially without your mom, but you need to work harder. You need to go to class. You need to do this.
It's not like he's putting him down for his love of reading, but he's like, you can't make that all that your life is,
exactly.
and that's all you think about. You have to. He's trying to tell his son to grow up in the best way he can. I mean, compared to like I guess other movies of the time or other movies that I'm sure we'll see down the line, his dad's being a little bit more compassionate. He's not like, stop being, your head in the clouds and just grow up. He doesn't say that. He goes, we gotta be real. You gotta focus on your schoolwork and stuff. And you can tell Bastian he'd rather have his head in the clouds in a fantasy world. Because like Dad points out, oh, your teacher said you were drawing horses in your notebooks, and you had to correct him very quick by saying
it's unicorns.
Yeah.
Was his dad drinking raw eggs?
You thought that? I don't know. It looked like some sort of like blended drink.
I thought he put raw eggs into the blender and then blended them up.
I mean, I was distracted by the 80s Ziploc box on the table most of the time. Maybe. I don't know. I mean, his dad, he was in the typical businessman garb with the business suit and the business vest, so it's
possible.
Maybe. He seems like he almost like you could kind of make the point that he has like a regimen that he follows, where Bastian just kind of goes by whatever he's thinking or feeling with whatever he's reading.
We get that even later when he goes to school and he's like, "Oh, it's math class and it's a test. I'm already late. I'm gonna ditch."
I'm sure he thought he was gonna fail it too, because it's I'm not in a mean way, but he's just like he enjoys reading and getting lost in these worlds rather than actually studying and doing his homework. But that actually helps him later on. Anyway, and then we see Bastian going to school, and then we see it checks off the box for 80s
movies.
Movie tropes.
You have the
three bullets.
The three bullies, and they throw him in a dumpster.
Well, they chase him for a while. But
it was so 80s when it came to the bullies, like.
Because you got the lead and the two goons that don't do anything. They just kind of follow his lead. Yeah.
It reminded me of Back to the Future.
With
Biff.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, they're like trying to steal his money, and they kind of corner him. They throw him in the dumpster. He gets out, and they're like, "What are you doing? You gotta stay in there."
We told you you can't get out until we tell you to.
And during that scene too, I put in my notes. I'm like, "Where's Spider-Man?" This is a moment where Spider-Man just show up and be like, "Hey kids, don't do that." He goes, "You got your one," like that joke from Family Guy.
Yeah.
And then Bastian runs away. The bullies see him again, and that's something that made me laugh when I pointed out to you. I'm like, they knock over some random extras. Drink. He's holding milk away. You hear a break, a shatter, and I'm just like, oh. It's like, I'm feeling more sad for the spilled milk than I am for Bastian. But just something funny that's stuck out to me. And then he runs into
a bookstore. Is it a used bookstore?
I want to say it's like probably a rare and antique bookstore.
Yes.
Because the way it looked and the way the guy was talking, it seemed like he caters to a very
specific clientele.
Yeah. And even like the books that he had there, like the NeverEnding Story novel that he finds, like
it's leather bound.
It's a really nice edition. It has that kind of like insignia that's like almost like bound, like sewed or glued to it. I also say that too because like there's a part where when the owner he says the name of the store is Corianders, but I don't know if that's his name because they never say it.
No, they never say his name.
Yeah, but when he's on the phone, he's like, "Oh, I can get that for you. It's going to take me a couple weeks." So that's why I'm thinking it's like an antique or restaurant.
Yeah, it's probably that.
Yeah. But that moment also when he first meets the owner, I like the interaction. It's a funny back and forth where it's like, "Get out of here!" He goes, and Bastian's like kind of stumbling to kind of say why he's
hiding.
Yeah, he goes, "This isn't an arcade. We have books." And he said,
"Like I like to read."
But he's got the books. He goes, "The small rectangular objects. They may make beep, bop, boop, or whatever." Like he's trying to make noises like an arcade. And Bastian, he's like, "No, I like books. I've read Tarzan and this and that.
20,000 Leagues Under the Sea and Moby Dick."
And I think that's a moment where he like the owner's like. I was like, okay, you can stay here, but he's still kind of getting annoyed. Like
he's like, this book though, it's special. Yeah. If you read it, you can't go back to being a little boy.
Yeah. Well, it's also like he was something special. I'm like, is it The Secret? it's like so mysterious. Like that book was supposed to be. I also thought it was funny too. Like, I was like, it's a special book and it's way too almost. He's kind of say it's too powerful for you to read in a way. Yeah. He's kind of like, and Bastian's just kind of like, oh, that only that only makes me want to read it more. And then
he goes. Then the owner
gets a phone call.
Gets the phone call. And leaves the book by itself.
No. What he does is he puts it in the worst hiding spot. He just picks up and he puts it on the desk. He takes a newspaper and he puts it over it like that. Yeah. Like, where'd it go? Like it's hide and seek, or peekaboo. It's like, where'd it go?
I saw you put it there.
Yeah, and then the moment I saw that, like when he looked at the book, and I was like, he's gonna take it. It's like I know he reads it later on, but I'm like, yeah, he's not gonna be like, hey, mister, thank you, and leave. Like,
I have a theory about that.
Do you think what he was reading was telling him to leave the book for Bastian?
Maybe, or he meant to do that on purpose. Mm-hmm. He's like, well, this book's special, and he knew the kid would be interested because when he looks back and he sees the book's gone and the IOU, he smiles.
So I thought this. I thought he looked and he saw he smiled but then it looked like he got, like, when he saw the IOU, he looked like he started to make a frown. Did it look like that to you? So I'm thinking too that this NeverEnding Story novel is like meant to be passed from person to person, because maybe that old man had the similar adventure that Bastian went on years when he was younger, maybe, and he all do it. I don't know. I kind of like the idea of the book being like
passed on from generation to generation.
Yeah, like an artifact that's protected by the owners through the centuries.
Maybe we'll find out in the sequel.
No. But yeah, so like you said, while the owner takes a phone call, Bastian takes the book, and he's nice enough to leave an IOU. He goes, I promise I'll return it. I have a point to make about that later on in the movie. But it's nice enough he leaves the book. And I gotta say, like we mentioned, like the prop of the novel is really nice. That's like almost like a movie prop I never really thought of, but it's not attention put to that.
The original, I want to say it was VHS's, or the VHS, or maybe might have been DVD. The original, when they made. Well,
you said you watched it originally on the VHS tape. Like, was that what it came in almost?
It came There was it came in like a bound volume. Mm-hmm. It had the NeverEnding Story 1 and NeverEnding Story 2. Well, it might not have been the original printing, but it was the one I watched it on. It was in like almost like a leather book.
Imagine you bought the VHS set, but it was really just the book. You're like, I gotta read the movie now. Then we cut to Bastian going to school, and he's hiding this book that's like half the size of him, almost, in his jacket. And when I was watching that scene, I'm like me and you, we both still get out comics, and when it rains, that's kind of what I look like when I leave the shop, because I don't want my books to get wet. So I'm very careful with it. But like you mentioned before, he sees his math class, and he goes, it's a test. I can't do this, so he decides to...
He plays hooky in the school, inside the school?
Yes. And something interesting was, I wonder how many, like, I guess the school's in like a city, but I wonder how many schools do have an attic like that, because that's a big attic. I know it's set in the movie match or whatever, but it's also funny that like nobody ever took the time to fix the box that the key came in. Yeah. Because it's broken, and he could just grab it and open the door and go into the attic, and nobody would notice. It seems like something that should have been fixed. But he goes to the attic, and he gets comfortable, and he opens the book. And I like that the moment he opens the book, we jump right into the story, too. It's a nice kind of, like, cutaway to it.
And you really don't go back to the real world very often.
No, the only time you do is when you cut to Bastian either saying something...
reacting to something that's happening in the book.
Or, like, somehow moments of the book are starting to kind of, like, creep into the real world in some way. Yeah. I'll point that out later on. But something I thought was funny, too, was, like, there are times when Bastian's reading the book, and he's like, the Southern Oracle, the Sea of Possibilities. And I'm like, it's like he's reading the chapter titles to us. Because I'm like, he's
the saying swamps of sadness.
Yeah, he's like saying all this stuff out loud. I'm like, this is like him telling me what the chapter title is. Yeah, so we open up, and right off the bat, like, the set designs are incredible. Yeah. It's a nice mixture of, like, practical sets and models. And it works so well. Like, it really holds up.
And there were some paintings, too. And it was, like...
I mean, the only, like, moments are, like, when they're flying, you can tell it feels... Because that's the technology at the time. It's still nice, but the practical stuff is just
fantastic.
Yeah. Pun intended? No, not really. But we meet... an interesting
group of characters.
Each one different than the last week. I think one was called a Nighthawk.
One was the Nighthawk, one was Rockbiter, and the other one was a small man with his racing snail.
ever race. And there's a bat!
Yes, and the Night Hob's bat.
Batman. Bat, whatever. But, yeah, so they're at a campfire, and they made me think of, like, characters from Alice in Wonderland, because the guy had that top hat.
Yes.
This thing is rampaging through the forest, and it's like almost like, not a bulldozer, but like the flatteners, or whatever they're called. Steamrollers, I guess?
Yeah.
And it stops, and it's like, oh no, it's a scary creature, and it's just a nice giant rock monster. And he's a rock biter, as we find out. And I like, too, that we find out he's a rock biter because he literally eats the rocks.
Yeah, he eats rocks. And he's like, ooh, this is a nice vintage rock.
Yeah. I thought that was funny, because rather than just him, eat the stuff, he's like, it's almost like tasting fine wine. He goes, this is a nice 2000, I'll say, BF, before Fantasia flavor.
Yeah.
But it's almost like it's rock candy for him. But we find out... Yeah. Thank you. But yeah, he meets them, and they're like, oh, what are you doing here? And because he just wants to talk to these people, and he explains that he's left the north where he's from because
the nothing.
And you're like, well, when you heard the nothing, did you think it was like an actual force, or it was like literally nothing? Because that's what we later find out. And I'll later behind, but spoilers for the whole movie, by the way. Go ahead.
I mean, that's one thing I did remember, but when I originally thought of it, I was just like, oh, what? I had questions about what.
I thought it was interesting. I thought it was it's nothing, lowercase n, and then you find out that it's the nothing with a capital N.
Yeah.
Which kind of makes it sound a little more dire and serious. But yeah, he explains that there's no more rocks in the north, and there's just nothing. There was a giant lake, and it's literally nothing. It's emptiness.
The lake got erased. Everything got erased. So he went
down south
to try and find the Empress.
But then we find out from the other characters that oh no, that's
why we're also here.
Yeah, because there's something destroying us all around. It's a plague. It's something really bad that's destroying everything in this magical land. And that's when we find out that the land's called Fantasia. And I kept thinking of the Disney movie though when I to my head Fantasia. But yeah, so they decide as a group to go to the Ivory Tower to meet the Empress and ask her for help. And this leads to a funny moment where they're traveling. They're like, the racing snow can't go that fast. And it's all vroom! This goes. And I want to say the racing snow was faster than the man-bat. And then Nahop's like, this, he's joking around as he's flying. But stuff like that's it's silly ideas, but they really work well. And as they're traveling, again, we see these terrific sets, these terrific models. And I did like that, how they composed it. You saw the rock monster and them together at times. They composed the film together. It really works well. You really get the scope of how big that creature was. And then
they get to the Ivory Tower,
which is at the center of this world, right?
Yes.
So did you? I thought of the Dark Tower when I was like, this is kind of almost like a junior version of that idea. It's get the Dark Tower, get the Ivory Tower. That it's holds this world together in many ways.
Yes.
So I was saying to myself, this is like a young reader's version of the Dark Tower in a way. A little different, but some ideas do kind of they came into my head.
Yeah.
Then we go to the throne room,
where we find out that the Empress is dying.
And in that scene, I thought it was interesting. They had almost all these different
all the different petitioners.
Yeah, and it was really cool. The side, if we had paused it, probably
there's so many different designs. There were people with 3 heads,
many faces.
There was people who were two bodies in one body.
I didn't notice that one. I noticed the giant heads, the Easter Island heads.
Yeah, there was the Easter Island heads.
The giant elephants, elephant people. But it was cool to show, this world is much more than just
what we're gonna see.
Exactly, yeah. And even though we may not have ever visited it, so you kind of mentioned this about Bright, but this kind of does what Bright could have done a little bit better, which was you show that there's other worlds there, and even though we don't see it, we get a scope of how big it is.
Exactly.
So even in this 2-3 minute scene, that's better than that. But yeah, then I guess you could say he's the emissary, or
her
hand of the king, or whatever.
But basically her crier or whatever, the person who I guess a regent, basically.
Okay, perfect.
Basically says she's dying, and she's the only person who can save the world, but she's dying, and so we need the help of someone to get something to save her.
Yeah, but he also makes a point that her sickness and the nothing are connected somehow.
Yes.
And so he's like, oh, she's dying, but there's a way to save her, and the only way to save her is to get one of the plains people. His
name is Atreyu.
That's right. So I gotta say, maybe because this is based on like a children's novel, and the movie's a family movie, the names are a lot easier to remember than like when I watch Game of Thrones or House of the Dragon or something. Because even though they have a very fantastical name to the characters, there's not so many to follow that I was like, oh, Atreyu. I kept like, hey, I'm doing well. I can write these names down. Even Bastian has almost like a fantasy sounding name. But yeah, so they said they need the plains people best warrior, Atreyu. And then
this kid comes up.
But so, did it feel like they cut a chapter or a moment? Because it's like, we need him to save the Empress. Here he is. Like,
well, no, they said we sent word.
Oh, okay.
To the plains people, and they're sending their best warrior.
Okay. I thought that he was like, we sent word.
But then they didn't know that he was a kid.
They just had like a scene where like when the master just like, I thought he was like a
warrior.
A warrior, and he's just like, oh, that's the messenger. Don't get mad at me. Talk to him. Okay, so I thought that they said we sent word, and then they waited for him to show up, but they had sent word already.
Yeah, they had already sent word.
Okay, that makes sense. But yeah, so everybody sees him, and he's like, you're the great warrior, and like scoffing at him.
Yeah.
And he's like, no, I am. I'm good. I can do this.
Me and my best friend Artax.
Yeah. But they tell him like, you can't use the weapons that you're used to using. You have to forego those, and we're gonna give you this special necklace, what they call
the voice of the Arum, which is the voice of the Empress.
Which now that you say that makes a lot more sense of why the story goes out the way it does. And they make the point like that necklace will guide and protect him. And then he's literally off on the quest after that. And they have the score, which is by Klaus Paldinger and Giorgio Moroder. And if I said that name wrong, I'll double check later. So you see him traveling across the landscape. And again, they do an orchestral version of the theme song, which works so well because it feels magical, it feels majestic. It works terrifically for this movie.
As he's on his quest, a monster is now on its quest to kill him.
Bum, bum, bum. And what's its name, man? I wrote it down. Gamork.
Yes, Gamork.
Who's like a werewolf-looking creature. He almost looks like a direwolf, I would have to say.
It's like
with green eyes, though.
Yeah, it's very wolf-like, but it's also like human in some ways.
It's conversational as a human, but it is like
very, very, very bestial.
Yeah. And we find out that, like you said, he's meant to follow Atreyu and stop him. And you get to a moment where Atreyu...
It had a really cool monster effect, like the...
No, it was one of those puppetry moments that rock bite me. It moves in a way that feels like otherworldly. Like, it's a puppetry, but it works so well for this movie. And it's kind of...
Definitely like Dark Crystal-esque.
Yes, absolutely. As Gamork is following Atreyu, he's by a river, he goes, oh, it's lunchtime. And that's when Bastian's like, hey, lunchtime for me too. And it's funny because he's like eating, goes, and this is something, because you read a lot more than me, but someone's like, is this how you are when you're reading, like, you're eating like food and you're like, no, I gotta ration this. Like, I gotta ration this story. I gotta take my time with it. But like, you seem like half of a sandwich yet. I think we could see early in the movie he was making it.
Yeah.
But he's like, no. If he has to be careful with his food, I gotta be careful with my food. So this is when we started to see like the story kind of like there's a connection forming.
Yeah.
And we don't know it, but it is. And then Atreyu learns that he has to find Morla, the ancient one. Or one of the ancient. Well, the ancient. It is the ancient. Okay. In the swamps of sadness, and I like that. Like I said, the way that they craft this world is really well done because they have simple names like this, but they have meaning to them.
Yes.
Like, they don't have to have a deep meaning, but
So,
Swamp
the
of Sadness.
Swamps of Sadness.
Yeah.
If you let the sadness overcome you, you will sink into
the swamp. Which is almost like a tar pit.
Yeah.
And it's, now that I think about it, like, every place that they have to do a test, it's like, just do the opposite of whatever this place is. Swamp of Sadness, just be happy, and you get through it. But yeah.
Artax.
But yeah, so Artax, I guess the idea was the horse was really scared.
Yeah.
And nervous about what was going on, and the more that he tried to pull, the more it got sunken more and more to the point that I was really surprised that the horse died. I thought there'd be a moment where, like, he got out, but no, like, it showed that there was real stakes in this adventure, and like, it made you think too, like, Atreyu's gonna be sad now. How is he gonna get through all this? And
my note was, no, not Artax. Let's traumatize the kids.
And so that's things I find interesting about these, like, the 80s movies. That they were never afraid to be like, we're gonna, like, be cautious of how we scared the audience, because it's, you know, for families, that they're like, no, we're going to show it. It's like, it's going to scare you, but maybe that's going to make you want to watch more, maybe it'll make you watch less, but they weren't afraid to try to push the boundaries of what people will watch.
I mean, it's one of the reasons the movie is as memorable as it is.
I mean, I heard some people say it traumatized them a bit.
Yeah.
But yeah, it didn't play things safe. Like, it showed that people might die on these journeys. I mean, the movie opens up with him saying that the mom died, which I know is, you know, with a deceased parent, like, sometimes that's a trope in some of these movies. But I mean, it's still
look at any Disney movie.
True. Yeah. This is just doing a live action version of it, I guess. But remind me, I don't know if I jumped ahead or not, but, like, Bastian screams when he said something, and it sounds like Atreyu kind of hears him.
That's a little bit further.
Okay.
But yes.
But he does something that Atreyu kind of, like, hears, or that is later. Like, it's a small thing.
I think it's right when Artax dies, he screams, and that's when
Atreyu's like, kind of looking like, what was that? But Atreyu, being the strong warrior character of a fantasy story, keeps going. Even though it's the expression of the actor is like, I don't want to keep doing this, but I have to.
Yeah.
And then he goes to Shell Mountain. Again, I like the names of some of these places in the movie.
And he meets Morla, the Ancient One, who is a giant turtle.
So, again, Dark Tower for me. It made me think of Marturin the Turtle. Was you at all? Did you think of that or not?
Maybe a little bit.
Yeah, but it was like Marturin the Turtle if he spoke like Marvin, the android from Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. Because he'd say, like, I don't care about anything. What does it matter?
The world's ending?
Yeah.
Okay, I don't care.
And I do like that he's joking, like, he keeps sneezing, and Atreyu keeps falling... Atreyu keeps falling off this tree. And he's like, oh, I'm sorry, I'm allergic to you. It's like, you gotta get out of here, else I'm gonna keep sneezing. But it's a funny moment between the two of them. And I do like that Atreyu's like, you need to help me. I'm more or less like, no, I don't. Nothing matters. He goes, well, if nothing matters, then why don't you just help me anyway? It's just going to come to the same result.
I'm still not going to help you.
But I'll tell you one thing.
I'll tell you that you need to go to the Southern Oracle.
Yeah. And it's at that moment, too, that we kind of start to sense that...
But it's hopeless. You're 10,000 miles away.
And then the Deus Ex Machina shows up, but before I get to that, it's at this moment that it's almost like the more Bastian reads the book, the more the book hears him, or the story hears him, and the more the real world
is affected. Yeah, because like storms start happening.
Well, that's later on before he when school ends and he's going to go home. That's when the storm hits. It's sunny up to that point.
But there's also like thunder. There's like wind starts happening.
Yeah. There's also like props
in the attic
that kind of like almost alluding
like Gamork jumping out.
Yeah. Gamork.
Yes, Gamork.
These things are easy to write down, hard to remember. Okay.
Like when right after the Deus Ex Machina shows up, a prop
that wolf head shows
the
up.
wolf head shows up in the attic.
Yeah, but as the movie continues, like you said, more or less says to him, "Okay, fine, you gotta go to the Southern Oracle and to get your answers of how to save the the Empress. It's 10,000 miles away, though." He's like, "Well, I guess I just gotta do what I have to do." And
I was like, after they mentioned the Southern Oracle, I was like, school ends, and reality and the book start to meld.
Yeah, it's true. Almost like once that school session's over, and he's left by himself, that's when the fantasy world starts to become even more fantastical and more real. Something else I thought too when I was watching this was this week. Do you remember the Page Master?
A little bit.
I grew up with that more than this movie, but it reminds me of this a little bit because, again, it's a power of stories and literature and getting lost in it.
Yeah.
So I guess in a way, Page Master was my gateway to fantasy. But yeah,
for me, I grew up more with Princess Bride than this.
Mm-hmm.
But
yeah.
I mean, Princess Bride's also like an endlessly rewatchable movie.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, but no, I like to check out Page Master again. I remember like the animation being good in that movie. But anyway, like you said, school's over. Bastian decides like he was going to leave school, and he's like, nah. And then he goes to the attic, and that's when the storm hits, and he's like going to run away. He goes, no, Atreyu wouldn't run away. I'm not going to run away either. So he decides to stay and be brave like him and read the rest of the book. And like you said, window opens up and moves a wolf head down.
Yeah.
Almost like it's kind of interesting, like when you look back at those scenes, like how it was kind of meant to try to be doing something. Like,
yeah.
Like we said, Atreyu's on the verge of sadness. He's going through the swamp of sadness, and it's like he's trying to be strong, but it's like an effort to do it.
He's like, you need to work through this.
Yeah. Come on. And then this is like the first time I've watched a movie in a long time. I'm like, oh, that is a Deus Ex Machina. Some creature's flying in the sky, and it saves him being pulled into the swamp.
Yeah. And we meet, I think, my personal favorite character of the movie, Falcor, the Luck Dragon.
How can you not? Like he's such a friendly character. It's like we've recently just seen, as I was recording, Project Hail Mary. So it's almost like Rocky. It's just like such a friendly, optimistic character that kind of keeps you wanting to motivate.
Motivated and keep you on the mission.
And but it's funny too because Falcor is like he's pure luck. Like every time they need something to work out, you just have him go to a place and it pans out well. But the puppetry's really really cool. And the design of it, like it feels like a giant creature.
He looks like almost like a Chinese dragon in some ways.
Yeah, I was thinking of the Mulan, the anime Mushu. Like it has that kind of like same design to it.
Yeah,
it has scales. It's like fur-end scales. I thought that was kind of cool too. Well,
it's like he's just like a dog.
Before I go on though, but something I thought of I was watching this at this moment was the NeverEnding Story is a book and Bastian's reading it. Not to do a side note, tangent, but I'm guessing he likes a lot of stories. Maybe he likes fantasy because we're getting a fantasy story. But you think anybody who picks up the book, like if I picked up the book and I like sci-fi stories, it's going to be a sci-fi story that's a never-ending story? Or if you like spy stories, it's going to be a spy story?
I don't know. It's tough to say.
It's a magical book, so I don't know. Fan theory, I guess, maybe. The never-ending story isn't for everybody.
There were some sci-fi elements towards the end of the book.
With the lasers?
I was saying, when everything's done, like they're flying through space.
They have space in fantasy stories too. They look up at the sky and see stars.
No, but they were flying through space. Usually, they don't fly through space.
It's a luck dragon. It helps you breathe in space. And I overthink things. But
and then they mention that. The world of Fantasia is like the world of human fantasy.
No, you're jumping ahead. No, let's see if later.
Yeah, but...
wait. Bastian had to wait to get to that point.
Okay.
You gotta wait to get that part. So, Atreyu's talking to Falcor, and he's like, oh, so you gotta get to the Southern Oracle. He goes, how do you know that? He goes, you talk in your sleep.
And you're already here.
Yeah. It's like, by the way, I took you 9,891 miles, so yeah, just a few more feet to go. But I do like that they made Falcor almost like a giant dog. Because I didn't know he was a luck dragon until many people pointed it out to me. And but he acts like a dog because he's like, "Oh, can you scratch behind my ear? I can't get that far." It's actually funny because sometimes Brandy's here when we're recording. That's the one time she should be here when we're recording. I'm like, yeah, what luck for Atreyu that he took him that far to get it. And something I was thinking about too was, Frodo and Sam would have had a much easier journey if this Falcor showed up. Oh, you guys destroyed the One Ring? Get on my back. We'll go to Mordor. No problem. Because if he's a luck dragon, the Eye of Sauron's not going to notice him.
That's true. And he wouldn't be afraid like the Eagles are.
Yeah, and I can see him and Gandalf getting into a nice drinking match. But anyway,
no, they'd be smoking pipeweed.
Medicinal. So Atreyu finds himself on kind of a cliff or a mountain.
Oh, he's like on it's not on like a plateau.
Yeah, but it's on but somewhere like in a mountain area, and
he meets these two tiny people.
Yeah, they didn't really say what they are because I thought they were kind of like elves. Not really.
I don't know what they are. They're just like new creatures.
Yeah, fantasy creatures.
Yeah, new fantasy creatures.
Fantasians, as they call them.
And they one's super obsessed with science and the other's super obsessed with potions.
Yeah, but that one's an author / scientist, and the other is a potion maker / healer. And it's like a bigger couple, and it made me thought of The Princess Bride with the Billy Crystal character, and I forget who played opposite Billy Crystal. But like the two older hermits, and they're like arguing. It reminded me of that a lot. But at first I thought they were the same size as a churro, and then I didn't like it. Then once you got close, I was like, oh, they are smaller. Even though like she gives him a cup in her hand, it's normal, and then Atreyu picks up and it's his hand, it's normal somehow, but. Magic.
Yeah, magic.
He gives him a potion to make him feel better. And again, a lot of this movie kind of reminded me of other things, which I guess shows his influence on film and storytelling.
Yeah.
But do you remember when we called it burrowers?
I've heard of it.
Yeah, it kind of reminded that, like there's people like tiny people that lived in a house.
Yeah.
I forget the names, but I wrote down the names of these two characters. It's Engiwerk and Urgle.
Yes.
Say it 5 times fast, Matt. Engiwerk is the author, and he wants to be a self-publisher. He wants to write about the Southern Oracle.
Yeah, he wants to write about the Southern Oracle and the trials to get to the Southern Oracle, but he's like, I'm going to write, it's going to be a memoir, and it's going to be, the first volume is going to be the first 100 years of...
Which, when you see it, it's like he's just going to be writing that this guy went through the Sphinx and he didn't make it. That guy didn't make it. I think it's going to be a big But I'll wait till it comes out. But I also like, he takes Atreyu to where the first gate that he has to go through is.
Yeah.
And I like how it's like a weird, wacky, fantasy telescope crystal. It's almost like a camera, but it has crystals.
Yes.
Look through it. It's a fun prop. We see the Sphinx gate, and
we see the first person we see someone trying to get through it.
This random knight that's like the most traditional aspect of like fantasy story to like medieval fantasy, rides in and gets destroyed immediately. And my
zapped with lasers.
Yeah. And it's almost like I thought to myself, he's like a red shirt on Star Trek. It's just cannon fodder. But we find out that the gate,
it sees into your heart.
Yeah, so if you don't express or show who you really are, like it's kind of like if you're doubtful, but you're trying to show you're not doubtful, it's going to know that you are, and we won't pass.
Yeah.
It's almost like some riddle of the Sphinx. It's more like just a challenge of the Sphinx.
Yeah.
But I thought it was a tense moment that Atreyu was like, well, I know that guy died trying to go through the gate, but I'm going to do it anyway. And they film it in a pretty good way. Like he walks slowly and is just trying to be who he needs to be, and that he knows he is too.
Yeah.
I thought the set was pretty cool too. The Sphinx were pretty... It felt like real, like the way they made them.
It felt like, they felt like something that would be...
Stargate.
I wouldn't say there, but it felt like, it felt real instead of like a fantasy...
Yeah, like some magic mumbo-jumbo.
Yeah.
I was also surprised how, when they show the corpse of the knight, like, he's burned. Like, he's, like, something like you took off the barbecue. Like,
yeah.
So I was surprised how gory it got there. But the idea that, like, don't down, have confidence, I'm like, oh, is this a lesson for Bastian as he's reading it too? So yeah, again, I gotta say, like, Petersen does a really good job of, like, balancing the scary and the cheerful moments of the movie. Like, it goes from, like, being hopeful to scary back and forth, but it never feels like it's always kind of doing a balancing act. It's like it's just balancing them out completely well. At the same time, Falco's getting his vitamins.
Yes.
Because he was tired, I guess? Is that what it is? Or just filling in the story?
I think it was just filling the story a little bit.
It shows that even luck dragons have to go to the vet once in a while.
Yeah.
Okay. And then we get to his second challenge, the second gate.
Which is the Gate of Mirrors.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Where he has to face his true self.
Mm-hmm. Now, I thought it was cool that it was located in, like a winter world. Like, he suddenly went to a whole different location. Again, like, built into the whole fantasy of it all. Now, I thought of one thing when I watched it. You mentioned something else. What did you think?
I thought of Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time.
Okay.
The middle boss of that game, of the water dungeon, is him facing Shadow Link.
Okay.
So he's facing, like, a shadow version of himself. Mm-hmm. So I thought, oh, these mirrors and...
Okay. I think you mentioned Lord of the Rings, too.
A little bit, but it was more Legend of Zelda.
For me, Star Wars. It made me think of...
when Luke goes to the...
Dagobah. Yeah, and he confronts his worst fears, and he sees his face under Vader's mask. Spoiler if you haven't seen Empire Strikes Back or whatever.
Spoiler for, 60 years...
Oh, come on. It's not 60 yet, Matt.
Almost. It's like 50.
40 something. But anyway, yeah, it made me think of that, because it's about, like, again, like all these fantasy stories, they have moments where there's some sort of magical artifact that's meant to show what they're most afraid of. But something that was interesting, too, is that, you're going to show your true self. And again, looking back on it now, I'm like, oh, that scene means a lot more. He looks and he sees a reflection of himself, but then it turns into Bastian reading the book.
Yes.
And he's like, what does that mean? Like, why is that my true self? And he's, like, scared and puzzled. And then, does he goes through the mirror?
He walks through the mirror,
okay, yeah. And then he goes to this southern oracle, which is two big blue sphinxes.
Yeah.
And something you notice, too. Morla did this a lot, too. He kept saying we. Did he say we?
Yeah.
And these oracles say we a lot, so they think of themselves as more than the first person.
Well, I mean, the sphinxes make sense to be a we.
Yeah.
Less so than Morla.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, Morla was talking to themselves.
Yeah. We find out what the key is to saving Fantasia and saving the Empress.
He has to give... someone who is not from Fantasia has to give a name to the Empress.
Yeah. Well, at first he's like, oh, you gotta give her a new name. He's like, oh, no problem. He goes, but it can't be you or any Fantasia. It's like, oh, big problem. Only a human child can give the Empress a new name. Which leaves Atreyu kind of like, okay. Now he almost finds himself with more of a problem now than he did before.
Yeah.
Because before it's like, oh, all I have to do is find something, and then, oh, I found it, but I don't know how to get that. And then...
and that's when you sort of flash to Bastian Is that... When he finds out he needs a name for the Empress, that when they flash to Bastian, and he's like, my mom had a name.
Yeah, they go to a scene, and he's looking out a window as it's raining, and he goes, my mom had the most beautiful name, and it's almost like, I wonder if that'll come back later. The moment I heard that, I'm like, okay, so that's going to be her new name. Yeah, it's like things in this movie. Like, I guess maybe because we're watching it older, like you see kind of how it's foreshadowed, predictable, but it's still handled really well.
Yeah,
and I think that's what makes the movie, like I said, enjoyable. Is that it's very basic, but it's easy to follow, and it's just entertaining. And then Falcor is flying back to the Ivory Tower. And I like that, like, while he's flying, it's funny, too, because they kind of be useless footage later on, but it has that score, and you can see in Fantasia. It just seems fun. Like who wouldn't want to drop a fly?
And that's when Atreyu gets knocked off of the, by the nothing.
I'm sorry. No, not go to the Ivory Tower.
No, they're looking for the bounds of Fantasia to find a human.
Yeah.
And Atreyu gets knocked off of Falkor.
Well, the flying too, and then like they see the nothing. I think like by the Sea of Possibilities. Around that. Yeah. He gets knocked off, and they get separated, which I guess is a trope in a lot of fantasy stories. Like you have a group of characters, and then they get separated, and then they get back together. And then we get to somebody knows. So like, does anybody ever clean the attic at that school? 'Cause, I mean, it's really dirty. I guess that's why Bastian's like, oh, I'll go there because nobody ever cleans it. So now I'm gonna wait about anybody coming up and wondering like, is anybody hiding out here? Yeah. So as Atreyu and Falkor are separated, Atreyu sees a rock monster, and he's like, even more depressed than he was before. He's like,
all my friends are dead. They're all gone. Nothing took them away, and I'm next.
And it says like these hands are so strong, and I can't do anything about it. It's like, oh man, it's like, what do you say? It's like Atreyu's like, I can't say it. I'm sorry. And they lost it to nothing, and really the nothing's just destroying everything. Like, and now Atreyu's lost everything. He lost his luck dragon. He lost his horse.
It's the all is lost moment.
He lost his necklace.
It is the all is lost moment.
And now that I think about it, like, it's a Sea of Possibilities. He goes to like these ruins, and I thought it was kind of interesting that all the ruins have like images,
paintings of him and his quest.
Yeah. It's kind of like, what does this mean? And it's like raised question like, who's making this? How do he know what I've been encountering? I call it meta ruins. Then he meets who else? Gamork. He's hiding in the shadows.
And Gamork tells him that Fantasia has no bounds.
Yeah. And then we realize that everything we've been reading is just the human mind, the human imagination.
Yeah.
Really, Bastian's imagination. I guess the idea behind it is that when you read a book, you're creating that world, and without people to kind of keep those worlds alive, they fall into nothing.
Yeah.
Hence the name The Nothing. I thought that was a good twist, and that he's saying like there's no boundaries because it's endless, it's imagination, so there's no way you can have a start or stop. I thought it was really very existential and high concept, like the first high concept moment for the story. Like, were you surprised by that twist? Like, did you remember that or not really?
Slightly. Yeah. Nothing. I don't remember all of it, but I did remember like bits and pieces.
But it's interesting because it makes the journey a lot more interesting than just your typical find this magical MacGuffin to save the day. The idea that like his quest is almost like, so to tell me there's no point, like I can't get beyond the bounds because there are no bounds. So how do I get this human child to
find the Emperor?
Yeah. And it's pretty dark too because Gamork's like,
I'm here to stop you and I'm here to kill you.
Yeah, and he's saying like the nothing is made up of like it's just a force of no hopes and no dreams. Like that's what makes it up. Hence, you don't have any dreams, you don't have any hopes, you have nothing. You know. And I thought that was kind of interesting. Like he's saying like having no hope leads to be able to control people and having power. So the idea of like, it's almost like, I guess, would you say that reflects the opening scene with the dad? Kind of like, if he's not telling the son not to have any hope, but he's just like, put your dreams aside. And like, and it's like, oh, by saying that, I'm controlling his destiny and how he's going to think.
A little bit.
Mm-hmm. But Atreyu is nothing but brave. And he
slays Gamork.
And he's like, if I'm gonna die and I'm nothing, then I'm gonna die killing you. And man, he stabs him. I thought they just showed like the blade like just poking out. No, there was blood on his hand and blood coming out of Gamork. Not like gory, but I was just like surprised for.
And then Falkor shows up and saves.
He found Auron, the necklace. Yeah. Like I said, it's like when you're like, well, how do we get... Oh, Auron can Falkor can find it because he's a luck dragon. He can just be lucky. And in my head, I'm like, I would love to hang out with Falkor and Domino from the X-Men because they'd be giving me winning lottery tickets constantly.
So long as Black Cat's not there.
True. She would steal it after I won the money. But, I gotta say, it's funny, but, like, I guess Falcor's a good plot device. Like, it does work. And at that moment, Fantasia's just getting obliterated. Like, and the wind's really strong. I thought that practical effect was good because, like, Atreyu's holding onto a tree and he seemed, like, blowing away, trying to hold on. Like, it feels like he's gonna, like, go into, like,
fly away.
Yeah. They flat out obliterate Fantasia. It leaves nothing, and it makes you feel you feel like the Rock Biter, going like, oh man, what's there to save? Because they have Auron and it guides him, it leads him back to the Ivory Tower, which still exists. I guess it makes sense, like...
Yeah.
if that holds all these worlds together, would be the centerpiece. That'd be the hardest one to destroy. Then we finally get to meet the Empress. So I thought it was interesting because, like, on the poster, the Empress is front and center, and you don't see her to the very end of the movie.
Yeah.
Is that kind of a spoiler, you think, on the poster, or is that just marketing in a way?
I think it's marketing.
Yeah. But yeah, I thought she would be a bigger character in the movie, and she has like a presence in the beginning, and you only see her like later in the end. So I thought it was kind of interesting. So finally, Atreyu shows up, and he goes to see the Empress, who looks deathly ill.
Yeah. And she's like, he's with you. He's been with you since the beginning.
Well, no. First, she's like, "Did you bring the Earthling with him?" Which I thought was interesting. They say Earthling. Yeah, because it makes us. Then it feels like a sci-fi story.
That was one of the things that was like, oh, there's some little sci-fi elements here and there. And what are they, aliens?
Yeah. And Atreyu. Oh, Thor's an alien, but Atreyu's like, "Oh, I'm sorry, I couldn't do it, and I couldn't get you the name or bring you the Earthling," and she's like, "Oh, well, this is all part of the plan," and Atreyu just kind of loses it.
And Atreyu's like, "Oh yeah," or the Empress is like, "Oh yeah, he's with you."
It's like, what do you? Well, not even that. Like, she's also like, "Oh, well, what you went through had to happen." He's like, "Are you kidding me? I almost got killed. I fought a werewolf. My horse died, and this was all part of the plan." And she's like, "No, like," and yeah, she's like,
in order to meet the Earthling, you needed to do this."
Yeah, and that's when it gets very high concept.
Like, the Empress even says Bastian's name now.
And, like, I just found this book. Why would my name be in it?
Yeah.
And I guess maybe that's why they made a very, like, specific name for him. So that way when he read it, it'd be like, well, there's only one Bastian I know of. So, like, what does that mean? And she also says, she name drops the title, which I really like. She goes, "He's reading the NeverEnding Story." I'm like, yes, cool.
It's the NeverEnding Story.
Yeah.
And he's a part of it.
Yeah, and basically she's explaining, and this is when it gets kind of like meta and high concept in a way. I mean, not meta, but high concept for sure. But she makes the point that Atreyu reading, going on the adventure, and Bastian reading it, it's kind of bonding them together.
Yes,
and the same way, in a weird way, us watching the movie is forming a connection between our real world and the movie. Because Bastian does look at the screen like he's breaking the fourth wall. And I'm like, this is like a rushing nesting doll, the way they're describing it. Basically, like you said, Atreyu had to go on this journey, and Bastian had to read it to bring him to the Empress. Right. Because that was the only way it would work.
And he, in order to give her the new name, to save Fantasia...
Mm-hmm. And because because she screams into the screen, and he's looking at it's like, "Bastian, you have to say my name." And he goes, "I can't." She goes, "You must. If you don't,
everything will die." And that's why I think, because the real world is starting to meld with the fantasy world, which is why I was thinking it's not just the fantasy world that's dying if he doesn't do this. It's the entire universe.
Yeah, because without that imagination and those hopes to drive us forward, there's nothing there, hence, nothing. Yeah, that's a good point. So this has, like, real-world stakes, multiverse stakes. And, basically, so he has to say his mom's name because that's what he wants to...
name her.
Yeah, and it does give the NeverEnding Story, I feel like, a new meaning, because it's like, there are billions of stories told all the time. And... of billions, like whatever. There's a lot. Anyway,
that's probably more than billions.
Okay. So I'm not too far off. But it's like the stories we tell. That's the NeverEnding Story. How we keep making these stories.
The oral tradition and all that stuff.
And something I thought too. He finally meets the Empress, and this moment made me think of. Do you ever read Grant Morrison's Animal Man or no?
I have not.
Okay, so slight spoiler, but a big spoiler, but. Animal Man meets Grant Morrison, and he kind of confronts him about everything he put him through and went on, like, why. And it reminded me a lot of this moment, too. Not just for Atreyu, like, confronting the Empress about, all this hardship and tragedy I suffered. It was for a story. And it's also kind of like Bastian, me, and the Empress explaining him kind of like realizing the power he has over stories too. And why maybe we read them and whatnot.
Kind of reminds me of the ending of Deadpool Kills the Marvel Universe.
Yeah, exactly. It has that moment where like you're confronting the creation's confronting the creator, like why are you doing this and the reason for it. But yeah, Bastian meets the Empress, and they're in like a void. Like I guess would you say at that point the universes are gone, or just Fantasia's gone?
I think the universes are melded to this one specific point in time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And that's it. It's just that one that because they're on a void.
Yeah.
They're kind of like at a bridge of universes.
Yeah, that's true. And all they have left is one little grain, and she's like, "This grain is the dreams and the hopes and imaginations, or this grain."
And the only way to bring back Fantasia is to make a wish on this.
Jumping back real quick, so he does scream out his mom's name.
Yes.
What was her name?
Moonchild.
It was Moonchild, because I didn't. Because like we were watching with the subtitles, because it helps sometimes when we're watching it. It didn't. The DVD didn't have it, so I couldn't really hear what her name was. I thought it was going to be like in the Eye of the Beholder, like whatever you want the name to be, that's what it is. Would that have been better, you think, if we didn't really know what the name was?
I don't know.
Right. Does that mean his dad married a hippie?
Or a native.
True. Yeah, good point. Oh yeah, Atreyu and him very similar. Yeah, good point. Yeah. She explains too, like you can make one wish. This grain can bring it back, but the more wishes you make, the more that grain will multiply
and make the world richer and more vast.
Mm-hmm. And sure enough, it works. And they're like, "So, what's your first wish gonna be?" And what is it, man?
It is. What was it?
Oh, come on! How do you forget what the first wish was?
Wasn't it?
He flies on Falcor.
Yeah, to fly on Falcor.
That's what he wants to do.
And then the second wish was to bring Falcor to his bullies and...
Yeah. Oh, okay. So I thought that the first wish was the same thing. The second one was... So that's... Okay, that makes sense. Because I'm like, well, how's he in the real world now? Oh, because he made a wish to go to the real world.
Yeah.
I did like, too, though, that when Falcor shows up and he's using him and Bastian are, like, not bullying the bullies.
Yeah.
It's not like the bullies are the one wants to see him. Like you see,
everyone's
like, "What's going on?" Like
through the streets in New York City.
Yeah. I'm sure that guy who dropped the milk one more time. Why does this keep happening to me? But I like that one of the messages of the movie was that like how imagination and dreams can kind of save you, and it did because it saved Fantasia, but it saved Bastian too. Like if anything, it showed that's where his strength is. Maybe not doing tests and studying, but he has power in other ways and other ways to use his knowledge. Okay, I was like,
and then does a voiceover about he had many more adventures, but that's a tale for another time.
Yeah, but it's funny because like, he never. Oh, okay, so that makes sense because I wrote down like, how did Falcor get in the real world? He made the wish. Okay, that makes sense. Like you said, I thought it was interesting because it reminded me a little bit of. Well, I had a question. I'm like, is the dad asking what Bastian is?
I don't know.
So it reminded me, there's another comic called Birthright by Joshua Williamson, and it had this concept of like almost like a fantasy story where like the kid goes away but he comes back and now he's an adult, and it's like what happens like while the people waiting and wondering what happened to the kid. So maybe Bastian. It just put that story in my head.
Maybe it was inspired by it.
Maybe because I know what Williamson said. Like it was that idea of like reading these stories where somebody disappears and then they come back years later. It's like, well, what would happen? What would it look like? And what were their adventures like? And we kind of do see. Does Bastian come back in part 2, or do you know?
I don't remember. Okay. I barely remember this movie.
Okay. But
it's been almost 20 years.
Yeah, but yeah. Overall, I'll let you share your thoughts. What you think?
Great movie, classic for a reason, and I'm looking forward to checking out where this franchise goes.
As this first time I've ever really watched the movie, it's really enjoyable. It's not afraid to be challenging at times. It's not afraid to be dark at times, and it balances out with a lot of magical and majestic moments. Like I said earlier, it's a nice gateway into fantasy. Like it gives you the general basis of what a fantasy story or the good beats of a fantasy story are, and just goes with it. And I think that simplicity just makes it even more enjoyable to sit down and watch or rewatch. And I can definitely see why a lot of people have a lot of fondness for going up with this movie. Yeah,
I would put it in the same boat as like Princess Bride, Labyrinth, Dark Crystal,
Page Master.
Maybe.
Maybe that's just me.
Definitely Chronicles of Narnia. Stuff that's like approachable to children, but has more to it.
That like when the whole family watches, the adults might see something different than what
Exactly.
the kids are watching. And I also really like I said, seeing Wolfgang Petersen tell a very fantastical story after seeing most of his movies, which are very serious and very sad and very action-packed, which this movie still has that in a lot of ways. But I also really liked how well they created a fantasy world.
Yeah.
I thought that was really good. The creatures were amazing. It had that Jim Henson puppetry to it. Like, it wasn't Jim Henson that did it, but it had that same look to
it definitely felt like it was almost like a company that was trying to compete with Jim Henson's company.
Yeah. And the sets are just well done, where the models are real. Like, it feels like you are transported to this world.
Yes.
And I really did like, too, that it's not just a fantasy story. It's, in many ways, about the power of, not fantasy, but just imagination and storytelling.
Yeah.
So, yeah, really well done movie. And it makes me wonder, like, with what they told in part 1, will they have in store for part 2?
Yeah. So, I have a question for you.
Okay.
If you could make a wish on the grain of sand of Fantasia, what would it be?
Okay, I'll put it this way. Always not only having, like, a little time to read every day, but always having enough focus to understand what I'm reading at times, no matter if it's daytime or nighttime.
Okay.
Yeah, I'd say that. If I want to keep the question very simple, yeah, like that. If you're thinking of, like, movies and stuff, or TV, I'd probably say, like, My Name is Earl to have gotten that final season. Or, movie-wise, if they were able to make a Wanted 2. Because I love Wanted 1. I wanted a sequel to that. So, those are my answers.
Okay.
Yeah.
For me, my answer is I would just want to be transported to a random fantasy world. Like, so, obviously something like maybe Lord of the Rings, maybe the Shire. I'd want to be transported there just for a single day.
Okay. Yeah.
Like, I want to live with the hobbits for a day.
Well, it's the question you should have said to me then is, if you had a wish to visit any fantasy world, what fantasy world would you visit?
Maybe. I wanted to keep it broad so that...
All right. Well,
because they said you can make any wish.
Yeah, but it was in terms of the books, too, man. It wasn't just anything. I wonder if he could have done anything when he brought his mom back.
Maybe.
Well, I'm going to reframe your question and say, like, if you ask... I'm going to keep the answer I had. Because I still want it, too, at some point.
Yeah.
And we're going to watch that first movie, too.
Oh, yeah.
At that point. I guess if I could visit any fantasy world or in a book, or, say, a comic book, I don't want to say Dune, because that'd be too...
Too grimdark.
Yeah. You know what? Not a fantasy world. The Star Trek universe.
Okay.
I definitely like to visit that, see what that future looks like.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, who doesn't want to visit the Bridge of the Enterprise?
That is true.
And yeah. Okay.
All right.
So our socials, we are at _franchise_connection at Instagram.com. And please email us at franchiseconnectionpodcast@gmail.com. Give us questions,
What would you
comments.
if you had the grain from the NeverEnding Story? What would you wish for?
Exactly. Anything.
And
Any
any questions?
Yeah.
Did you grow up with the no,
did you
can't talk right now. The
did
NeverEnding
you-
Story.
Yeah, exactly. Did you grow up with NeverEnding Story? If so,
Yeah. What were your thoughts?
what were your thoughts? Anything.
Yeah. Yeah, that's about it. I'm sure after we finish recording, I'm going to be like, oh, I should have thought of that story or book. Yeah, okay, well,
All right.
we good? All right.
Yeah.
Thanks for tuning into a review for The NeverEnding Story. Come back next time when we review The NeverEnding Story 2, The Next Chapter, which, oddly enough, in my head, I'm like, I wonder, should that be the subtitle? Like, yeah, that's a good subtitle. But I know Part 3 is not called The Final Chapter.
No.
Yeah. Until I really can't speak today. Until franchise fatigue sets in, I'm Matt Fisher
I'm Matt Spark.
for the Franchise Connection. Bye.
Bye.